How you doing, everybody? I'm Tony Gaglione.
I'm Shawn Adams.
And this is Smacktalk. Today on the show, we're talking about the NFL Week 2 in our first segment. RG3 not looking so hot.
Yeah, if I was that kid, I would just tell him we're down by 28 points. It's the fourth quarter.
That's
We got
when he
2 minutes
seems
to
to play
go.
well.
Because maybe it's the adrenaline. Maybe when he's calm, his body's not agreeing with him. He's got 649 passing yards. He's got 5 TDs. He's got 3 interceptions. We talked about this in the last show. 2 of those shouldn't be against him, so it should be 5-1 because there were tips. He's got an 89.6 QBR rating. Problem is, Alfred Morris is the only guy running. Last year they had Roy Helu Jr. getting some running. Morris has got 152 yards. They've got 182 total. That means only 30 yards from somebody else. 25 of those are from RG3. So I think whoever they're putting in to spell Morris, teams are picking up on that.
And if you can't stop anybody, you're not going to win games.
No, their defense is completely... You know what? Two rookie safeties, or 2 young safeties, maybe not rookies. And I think what teams are doing, Jordy Nelson over the top all day long. And then when the safeties are biting, guess what? Jermaine Gresham or a tight end is down on the seam. So I agree. RG3 is still not on track. I think he grasped the offense enough.
You're gonna have he didn't have a preseason. He's coming back from a major surgery. He didn't have a preseason. You're gonna have to give him a week or 2 to get on track. I do say. I'll say what?
Kirk Cousins had a preseason.
And I do say that if it goes to week 4 and they haven't won a game, you got to think about making a change.
Yeah. That's the thing in the NFL. It's a what have you done for me lately league. And I would agree with you. Speaking of what have you done for me lately, we just got done watching Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, and I'm a diehard Steelers fan, but we are now 0-2 as we cannot seem to stop anybody when it counts. 3rd and 18s.
0-3 next week.
I don't know about that. We'll see on Sunday Night Football. Tony's Bears versus my Steelers on Sunday Night Football. Moving on to the NFL, Seattle Seahawks Russell Okung tears his ligament. Big loss for the defense.
Toe ligament. I don't know how long he's going to be out. It's a toe ligament, but the Seahawks, he's huge.
Hey, the Seahawks, that's the team to beat.
Yeah,
in the NFC, that's the team to beat.
In the first game, it didn't look like it, considering who they were playing. However, you go and you play San Francisco and you hold them to 3 points.
Well, not only that,
Ridiculous.
Kaepernick's worst night as a passer, and I've said this, and Tony will back me up, Marshawn Lynch. If you don't know about this guy, he might not be the best on statistics every game, but when he plays a defense that's a physical defense, guess what? Marshawn Lynch wins the battle. He had 3 TDs, 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 reception touchdown. He had a 7-yard scamper, but he basically just bulldozed that front line. And the thing is they needed it because every time they dropped back to pass, Russell Wilson was getting sacked, he was like 0 for 6 at one point with an interception. Yeah. Although somebody's got to check into the 49ers because it seems like every time they're losing a game, there's like a delay of some sort. This time there was a thunder delay.
An hour and
a
minute weather delay.
Exactly.
Either way, Seattle proved to me and just about everybody else that they're for real.
Yeah, I want to ask you something. Is Seattle the toughest place to play at home when their team is as good as they are? With the 12th man.
Because there's 12th man. I enjoy the stadium. The stadium's loud. But you have to give it to other stadiums for their weather.
Okay, I'll give you that.
I'll give it to Green Bay
when
it's snowing. I'll give it to Chicago when it's snowing. I'll give it to places like that. Seattle, in the rain, loud. Top 5.
I'll give you that. Brandon Whedon almost beat the Bears, or not the Bears, the Ravens. They beat the Ravens. He had them up 6-0. The Cleveland offense, if it's not Trent Richardson, they don't have anybody, or the tight end. The tight end, Jordan Cameron, looks good. But backup Jason Campbell comes in the game. They couldn't do anything. Ravens got some...
And he'll probably start next week, considering Whedon is out.
In my opinion.
Better thumb injury. They're not... Well, yeah, I agree.
Better quarterback than Whedon.
I agree. I didn't think Brandon Whedon was much of anything, and why they let go of Colt McCoy was beyond me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Golson was suspended from the Buccaneers 1 game for his hit on Darren Sproles. It was a helmet-to-helmet hit. Sproles going to the ground, and he just kind of laid into him.
Yeah.
And Ndamukong Suh, or how you say it? Ndamukong Suh. His hit was worth the suspension. This hit is not worth the suspension. It might be worth a fine, but it's not worth the suspension.
I'll tell you why it's a suspension.
Go ahead.
$765 million concussion settlement from the NFL. They don't want to see none of that stuff.
Yeah, that's probably why. But I feel like Roger Goodell, all he does is like, should I suspend him or fine him? Let's flip a coin.
Yeah.
And that's what happens because you got guys that are going out there like James Harrison a couple years ago. He lit up Colt McCoy when he was playing for the Steelers.
Biased on that because he
I know you're
pulled
biased.
the ball down like a runner.
I understand. But still, Did he get fined or suspended? I don't
He got suspended. Well, his reason for suspension was because he was a repeat offender.
Okay, how many times has Golson been fined? None.
Yeah, probably.
None.
Okay.
I've never heard of this guy getting fined ever. So, flip a coin. Yeah. I mean, really. I don't like it.
Also, the Texans, they survived a scare in overtime. The Titans are looking pretty good. They beat the Steelers, and then they come in, and they were actually winning that game. And the Texans had 2 opportunities, 2 ice kicks. Both of them were good, and then he misses the third one after a 5-yard penalty to move him closer. It wasn't even a 51-yarder, and then he misses, and they go to overtime.
They escaped 2 games now.
Yes, that's not.
They could very easily be 0-2.
Yeah. Not only that, it's a make or break thing for an NFL team. If you escape 2 games, that can define your season. You go on to win a lot of games, or that catches up to you.
Sure.
And you start losing those close games.
Sure. I don't like the way that they're running the offense right now in Houston. I don't like that. I know Arian Foster's held a big load the last few years, but you can't split carries with Ben Tate when Ben Tate is not nowhere near the rusher that Arian Foster is, and expect to have the same productivity in the rushing game.
I'll tell you who looks good. Owen Daniels. Finally fully healthy after that surgery.
Boy.
Yeah. Also, Kansas City 2-0. They beat Dallas. Not only did they beat Dallas, they made Dallas look like a Pop Warner team. If it wasn't for Des Bryant, I mean,
it was
Jason
a close
Witten,
game.
It was a close game, but if it wasn't for Des Bryant, it wouldn't have been a close game.
Yeah.
Jason Witten didn't do nothing. Their defense looked horrible. I mean, Alex Smith, probably a great pickup because he's protecting the ball, no turnovers.
Sure.
And that's something Kansas City lacked last year with Matt Castle because you just get hit with the ball.
Does it seem like the quarterback is the most important piece to any puzzle in football?
I think so. I think the quarterback...
without a quarterback, you look at the Colts a couple of years ago. With Peyton Manning, they go to the AFC Championship.
Yep, and then
they lose Peyton Manning, and then
2 wins,
1 win.
Yeah, they get Andrew Luck. They get Andrew Luck. They go to the playoffs. Speaking of Andrew Luck, Miami 2-0 Miami Dolphins. They beat Andrew Luck. They didn't just beat him. Mike Wallace had 150-something yards receiving after he complained. You think that did him some good? I think so.
Yeah, he complained to get the ball. They gave him the ball. What are you going to do?
Gave him the ball, yeah.
I'm not fond about Miami. That's why I'm not high on him at all right now. I want to see him play a solid defensive team. Okay. And then we'll see what happens. Because I don't think Tannehill is the type of quarterback that... he's not a franchise quarterback.
Okay, speaking of franchises and injuries that could potentially affect some teams, Ray Rice went out of the game with a hip problem. Then Bernard Pierce stepped up. If I'm the Ravens, I'm not giving Ray Rice another contract because Bernard Pierce looks like a back.
Hey.
Looks like a real back.
Looks good.
Reggie Bush also is going to have an MRI probably Tuesday, which is tomorrow for us.
These are all kind of minor.
Yeah, but that builds up because later on in the year, that injury is a nagging injury.
Sure, and it can come back to haunt you. We've seen that plenty of times with players, but these are all kind of minor. They probably all will play next week.
I don't think Ray Rice is playing.
Really? Well,
I don't think so. They're playing they just play Cleveland, and I think, I don't think Ray Rice is going to play. They got Bernard Pierce. If I'm Harbaugh, I'm going to sit him, give him some rest, because Pierce has proven that he can handle the load. Mm-hmm. So plus the offense is really on Joe Flacco. So if Pierce doesn't show up, it's not going to ever be his fault. It's going to be Flacco's fault. So.
Here's something for you. Tebow's back in the house.
Yeah.
Not only on my back here, but the fans in Jacksonville held a Sign Tebow rally today.
20 fans.
It was only 20 fans?
It was 20 fans and 30 media members, which
Whatever.
is bad, but
it's good enough.
I'm going to say it's not going to happen right now, but if Jacksonville's 0-6, Tebow's on that team.
0-6. They're not going to... They might be 0-10, 0-11.
Well, the thing about it is, usually Jacksonville, they would start... they've been a bad team for a while. But what they do is they get in their division, and then they would win a few division games. Well, now with the Titans looking pretty solid, the Colts and the Texans, I don't think Jacksonville gets a win in the division.
I don't think so either, not especially because Maurice Jones-Drew keeps going down with injury. He got another little injury bug going on.
I think he wants out of Jacksonville.
I don't blame him. Wouldn't you?
Yeah,
Wouldn't you want out of Jacksonville?
Yeah.
I mean, those colored helmets ain't helping their play any.
No.
They are cool looking.
Cool looking uniforms. Speaking of, I'm going to say this. A guy that I've never really given credit to, but I'm going to give him credit now. 2 straight weeks, Jay Cutler engineers game-winning drives. That to me tops the list because I've never been a Jay Cutler fan, but when you see them down, when Minnesota goes down and kicks that field goal, and it's 24-30, and there's literally no time on the clock.
Yep.
And Jay Cutler goes down, and he does it in a way you expect the quarterback to do, which is something I haven't really seen out of Jay.
He didn't just huck it downfield and get lucky. he orchestrated a drive with more than 5 or 6 passes to different receivers. Martellus Bennett caught the game-winning touchdown.
Hey, you called fantasy thing.
Martellus Bennett is he's a
huge pickup.
He's a G in fantasy right now, but he's playing. I think the way he's playing is contributed to Coach Mark Trestman.
Oh yeah, I give that. The thing about it was last week when he beat the Bengals, you could say that the Bengals aided them because they got some cheap penalties at the end.
Sure.
And so you could have knocked that on Jay.
Yeah.
And I think this week, he just outright had a solid game. You put up 31 points on that Minnesota defense. Now, the part that questions is that, again, Chicago's defense has given up some points.
They are.
And you know,
it's unfortunate, but they're still a ball-hawking defense. They're still going to create turnovers. So in the long run, they're still going to win games because of the defense. Devin Hester is not a wide receiver anymore. He's straight kickoff and punt return, so I think that helps.
Yeah.
Jay Cutler is playing out of his mind right now, solely because...
Up until next week.
Yeah, okay. He's getting protection. He's gotten sacked 1 time in 2 games. Normally he'd be sacked 6 times in 1 game.
Yeah, exactly.
And Trestman has basically taught him to keep his composure. He's not yelling at linemen. He's not, screaming at the sidelines.
You know what I think it is?
Yeah.
I think Trestman went to Mike Tyson's playbook and he's like, that protection scheme doesn't work. Before we move on, before we close the show out, I want to ask you, best 2-0 team in the NFL right now? AFC and NFC. Give me one AFC, one NFC.
Oh, God. The best in the AFC is Denver. And they're the best team in the AFC, period.
Okay.
It doesn't matter who, whatever. I think, although that they're not 2-0, San Francisco is still a hard team, but Seattle is the best NFC team.
I'm going to agree with you on Seattle, and just because I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say this, I'm going to say the Houston Texans are the best team in the AFC.
No.
Simply because, like I said, I think that the ball's going to roll their way. Those 2 close wins. No. I think once Adrian Foster gets going, with Owen Daniels being healthy, it's not just Andre Johnson. They got this rookie, I don't know his name. He's on the other side of Andre Johnson. He's catching balls. I'm going to say Houston is my number 1 seed this year. Right now. This can change. It's 2 weeks in the season, but the best 2 teams for me, I agree with you on Seattle. Bears are a close second. With the 2 comeback wins, Bears are a close second, but I think defensively, Seattle shows they can shut people down.
Close it off, because we got to close it off. If the Bears come out and do the Steelers dirty next week, are the Bears the best 3-0 team?
No. Unfortunately, I have to say that, our offense doesn't look like it has a rhythm.
And since we broke even last week, didn't we?
Yeah, we broke even. Yeah.
We can put 5 on the Steelers Bears then?
Yeah, we can 5 on Steelers Bears. That's right.
I'm Tony Gaglione.
I'm Shawn Adams. Thanks for watching Smack Talk. Stay tuned for segment 2.